The Dream SMP. What was or is the Dream SMP? Well, to put it simply, it was just a survival multiplayer, a Minecraft survival multiplayer founded by Dream, Sapnap, and George. Now, I'm not gonna just make another one of those videos where I spend a solid 20 minutes, maybe even an hour, explaining what the Dream SMP is and talking about lore and the members. Instead, I'm here to talk about what it meant to me and how it affected me. Now, it sounds silly, right? It's literally a game. It's just an SMP with some questionable members, but it meant a lot to me, and I don't know why. I have never found anything like it, so I'm gonna talk about it for a bit. So sit back, relax, get some popcorn, whatever the hell you want. It's gonna be a long one. To me, just felt like I had finally, okay, to start, it was introduced to me by my best friend, and at first I questioned it. It seemed cringe and gross, and it didn't seem like something I would like. But after just watching a few streams, going on TikTok and seeing a bunch of cosplays on my feed and just art, and I was like inspired almost. I was like, wow, these people are very silly, and this thing is actually nice. So I gave it a shot, and I haven't regretted it since. It was one of the best decisions I'd made, honestly. It was so just fun to see a bunch of adults just ignore, like, it sounds funny, but it was literally a bunch of people ignoring their life problems for a short while and living in a different world where they had different problems and they had different things motivating them, and it was so interesting to see everybody's character and how different their characters were from their real selves. Now, I'm doing this video because I don't know, I felt inspired recently. I've been hearing a lot of talk about the Dream SMP, and I realize I miss it so much because has never ever been a video anything like it, honestly. There's so many SMPs, there's shows, there's a lot of things that are enjoyable, that even I enjoy, but nothing has come close to the Dream SMP, where there were just, you have on one hand people that don't like swearing, and on the other hand you have people that have absolutely no filter, and then on the other hand you have people that are genuinely trying to act and actually trying their hardest to make the best content, and then people that just don't try as hard because they understand it's just a silly SMP. And you have your amazing quotes, and it has so much to it that just no other SMP has ever really hit that same note. So it was, at first it was just a silly thing. I liked it. It was just another thing I was into, another thing I liked. But then eventually, after just watching some streams or whatever, I realized that it was more than just an SMP to me. It was almost like I had found a community. I had found my people. It felt I'd found people that dress up as other characters. I didn't know about cosplay at all until the Dream SMP, and I saw, wow, there are people that actually watch these silly people play Minecraft, and then they dress like them and act the way they did in the series, and I'm like, whoa, this is actually a big thing. So that's what got me into cosplay. If I find photos of the cosplays, I might pull them up right now. I don't know. They're a bit cringe, not gonna lie. Then I thought they were cringe, and now I still think they are cringe. I remember my first ever cosplay was Tommy in it, I believe. Yes, my first ever cosplay was Tommy in it, and I don't know. Tommy was the one I was the most in character for, because he had such an interesting character in the Dream SMP and played such an important role that it was he was definitely one of my favorite characters in the Dream SMP as a character. And it was even not just as a character, even his editing style and how he clearly tried. He really clearly tried to make his content like enjoyable to watch, and like he made the storyline understandable, where I would never be able to get what exactly was going on. And it was a little difficult because, especially since I started from the beginning, but there were like a few things I missed here and there, so it was difficult. But somehow Tommy and its like editing style and the way he made his videos was just, it made it bearable to watch and actually understand better. So from there, it also inspired me to create my first ever fan art of, I believe it was Filza, my first fan art I ever made. And I started to realize there's a lot of there's a huge community of people that are like funny and that make content that I love. I didn't know that there was people like this on YouTube, and it made me feel like almost at home somehow, where I could see just people playing Minecraft on one hand, and it's a game I recognize and love, but also on the other hand there were amazing artists like doing cosplay, which is a big part of it for me, and just the music and the animatics. Oh my god, the animations people made of like the storyline were just beautiful. Credit to them for almost introducing me to the Dream SMP, because if it wasn't for those animations I probably wouldn't be into it as much. But even though, and I'm not criticizing the Dream SMP, obviously, even without the fan input it was already good. It's impressive to me how, with their limited budget, I guess, they still managed to create something so beautiful to watch and so put together. Like, it was clear that at the start it was kind of more less scripted, but eventually it became more scripted, which honestly, a lot of people actually criticize it for being scripted, but honestly I like that because it gave it a more coherent feeling almost, where it seemed like there was an actual storyline being followed, and people weren't just doing things for no reason and running around in the server. And what I really liked is the characters, for example Technoblade. I remember just tried to stay away from the lore almost and be his own thing, and that I really loved that he did that. He was one of my favorite characters as well. The SMP as a whole affected me a lot, and it made me really sad to see how it ended, how we were promised a second season and that never happened for various reasons I'm not getting into. But I don't know, mostly because I don't know. I can't decide for people obviously they didn't go through with the idea of season 2 for this reason or that reason. It doesn't matter why. What matters to me is that they didn't do it, and honestly it's kind of sad because it had so much potential, and I just imagine it being redone now, but with a slightly different story or a continuation of the story, but being done better. With how the people have evolved, I think it would be so nice to see it revitalized in some way. So yeah, it's almost Dream SMP almost brought out the theater kid vibe of me, which I really have never been into this drama or this kind of acting or anything like that. But still, this was almost a more fun way to do acting and art and self-expression, and it was really fun just to watch people come up with this interesting story and present it to us, but also to watch people be so like amused by the story and so like into the story that they like create their own version of it, or they do self-inserts where they put characters of like themselves in the story, or just these amazing, just so much good stuff came from the fan base. And I'm not saying it's a perfect fan base, because obviously there was so much insane stuff that came out of it though, but for the most part it was a loving community. I know that I made a lot of friends from this. I even got like some of my old friends I became closer with because of Dream SMP, so it did a lot of good things for me. Seeing it end was one of the more sad things about it, and I know all good things must come to an end, but it seemed like it came to an end too soon for me. Like I wish it would never end. So the real reason I'm doing this video is not because I wanted, like I felt like I had to. I mean, there's not a lack of these kinds of videos on the internet. If you want to hear someone like whine about something they like for an hour, you can find many of those types of videos like all over the internet. But it's not really about just how it made me feel. It's also just to get like an idea. I just want to know like if there are people out there that actually would like to see something similar to the Dream SMP rise again, because I know I would. I mean, there hasn't ever been an SMP like it that's brought the same kind of attention. It was almost like a movie. It felt like this huge, not even certain movies make this amount of attention. Like it was so unexpected from, you know, the Minecraft YouTuber community. It was, I mean, they do good things, they help with a lot of things, but they don't do these huge like events like the Dream SMP. It was different, it was unique. I think that's what makes it special. But most of all, it was the members and how there was solitude between them. And sure, I know a lot of them now are not the same. Like, I won't say not the same, but like there's a lot of drama now, I know, with the members and how they have become. But back then there are still good members that now grew from the Dream SMP, and I'm sure there are so many creators that you would have never heard of if it wasn't for the Dream SMP. I would have never heard of Schlatt or Rambo, for example. Even though they are like these huge creators, I probably would have never interacted with their content if it wasn't for Dream SMP. So, to try to put it into words, Dream SMP was special and important to me in a time where I had nothing to care about, really. I mean, sure, everyone cares about their family and friends, and yes, of course, that's always important. But having something you can obsess over, and having a very large group of people, like community of people, all also obsessing with the same thing, makes you feel really happy to see that there are people that like it. Even seeing, like, for example, I met cosplayers in real life and talked to them, and I had never known these people, but I still spent like an entire day talking to them and like being friends with them, even though I had never talked to them in my life. Dream SMP told, like, we had so much to talk about with each other because of Dream SMP. It was amazing what Dream SMP did for me, and I'm sure what it did for a lot of people. So I don't see why it shouldn't be brought back, even if it's with different members, even if it's a different show entirely, like different SMP entirely. It's I feel like something similar to it. We are lacking something similar to it on the internet. And there are billions of videos, I'm sure, but none of them come close to it. I don't know how to explain why. I don't understand exactly what's so different or unique about it, but it is. It's different. It's unique. It had mostly good players, and it had like somehow semi-decent acting and slightly put together scripts somehow. Like all these, well, slightly put together is an understatement. They were quite put together, but how? It's wonderful to see how just this small group of people, with which otherwise would have potential, it's created something with their potential. They created something to show to the world. It's, for me, it holds a lot of memories, Dream SMP, so I wanted to talk about it and put this video out there, even if no one listens, because it's very important, and I think I want people to hear what I think about Dream SMP. So maybe someone understands and believes that we should have something similar to it, you know? Something like it, but obviously we can't have Dream SMP Season 2, we can't have another part of it, but maybe something totally different but with the same energy. It's been a long rant. I've said a lot. I expected to say more, but I don't want to continue rambling just because I want to say everything. I think I've already said everything I had to say about this. If you have any thoughts or feelings about it, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to reply to everyone. I mean, probably won't get any comments, but that's fine, because now I know this is out there for anyone that might be feeling the same, for anyone that misses the Dream SMP, for anyone that might be disappointed in how it ended or how the story played out. Thank you to the community. It created a lot of opportunities for me. Goodbye.